Yeah, but I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA.
Holy shit! For this? For the pod? Again?
They didn't like my comments on Paige Becker's.
No way!
I didn't even say anything bad.
The voices around the WNBA are only getting louder. Frustration has reached a breaking point, and now the unthinkable is being discussed openly on social media and sports forums everywhere. Sophie Cunningham's fans have had enough. They're no longer quiet about it. They believe she's being silenced by an organization that cares more about controlling the story than protecting its athletes or allowing honest conversations about what really happens behind closed doors.
She spoke about the league, but more importantly, she stated she got another fine for actually talking about Paige Beckers. Now, we all ultimately know what happened last time she had her podcast. She let it be known that Paige Beckers got that blue blood whistle, bro. And make a long story short, she stated the WNBA fined her for that. And she spoke about Bree Hartley. She also talked about Caitlin Clark rehab. But guys, it's unfortunate that she will be out for the
The movement is spreading like wildfire. Fans are demanding Cunningham keep speaking the truth, because if the WNBA is going to fine players for simply voicing their opinions, then something is very wrong with this league. What's happening here goes far beyond basketball. It's about free speech, about whether players are allowed to tell the truth about their own sport without being punished.
So lads, the WNBA have done it. They have done it. They have officially fined Sophie Cunningham every podcast episode. They have fined her, because Sophie Cunningham has been fined, I'm not joking. She's been fined for a TikTok. She's been fined now, I think, for the third time for a podcast. I think Sophie Cunningham might be the all-time leader in fines in the WNBA. So let's take a list.
Cunningham, who has become known as the truth teller in women's basketball, finally broke her silence about the league's campaign to fine her into submission. Her words highlight everything wrong with how the WNBA operates. What began as honest commentary on her podcast has now turned into a full-blown war against transparency. And Cunningham refuses to back down.
Are not protecting their players. Nobody's going to watch this if you're not protecting your star player. You're not protecting your players, period. But particularly your star players. No one's going to watch this. People are watching it because of Caitlin Clark, and then even more because of Sophie Cunningham. And if you're going to just hang them out to dry, then, good. Nobody's going to watch this anymore because they don't protect their players. It's a worthless organization. They have no idea how to protect their players. But, oh man, they're going to bitch and moan. Well, you better pay us the money. For what? You can't even protect your star players that draw the eyeballs. Now nobody's watching. Nobody's going to watch to see the star players sitting out with injuries because of poor treatment and poor officiating on the sides. Nobody's going to watch that.
During what should have been just another casual podcast episode about basketball and life, fans witnessed yet another chapter in the WNBA's effort to control every narrative coming from within. Cunningham launched her podcast, Show Me Something, with her co-host Wes Wilson to have real, open discussions about the league she plays in. Instead, she quickly discovered that speaking truth to power carries a hefty price.
She has turned herself into a top 5 most talked about player in the WNBA. And can I tell you, I am loving the clips that are coming out of this podcast. There's just so much fascinating elements of her that make her this really alpha, really strong, but really beautiful, spicy villain. And I think she kind of likes being the villain.
I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA, Cunningham revealed in her latest podcast. Her voice carried the weight of someone tired of being punished for honesty. She explained that she was fined for comments that weren't even negative, like her remarks about Paige Buchers. But this time, something changed. Cunningham decided she would not let fines silence her. To her, these penalties aren't about correction, they're about intimidation. And with every episode, she's questioning whether true honesty is even possible.
I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA.
Holy shit! For this? For the pod? Again?
They didn't like my comments on Paige Becker's.
No way!
I didn't even say anything bad.
On the whistle, on the quick whistle.
Yeah, but why?
If we want to talk about Paige, here's a good question.
They fined her for saying Paige Beckers has a good whistle. Like, I kid you not, that is one of the craziest reasons I've seen a player get fined.
What followed was something the WNBA had never seen before. Fans began to rally around her in huge numbers. They weren't just supporting her as a player, but as a voice of truth, someone brave enough to speak out regardless of the consequences. Social media exploded with messages calling her the truth teller and demanding the league stop silencing its own athletes. When Cunningham finally addressed the constant stream of fines tied to her podcast, her words cut through the league's usual polished statements like a knife through butter.
Something seriously wrong with how the W enforces their rules. And I know there's already been a big emphasis on referee inconsistencies, but at the end of the day, the quality of referees is on the WNBA too. Because again, I have no idea where the line is. Because on one hand, I kind of get it. It's normal for a league to fine you if you're going to talk bad about the league or the players in the league. Because that happens all the time in the NBA, NFL, and so on. But on the other hand, why does the league not care about its image when players are standing over and cursing out their opponents on the court? Like, where was the enforcement here? Or where was it here? Or where was it when the whole entire league was bullying your star player? And this stuff is happening all the time in the WNBA, but why is it only called on occasion? Which is why finding Sophie Cunningham every time she has a podcast seems kind of crazy, because the WNBA obviously chooses when and when not to enforce the rules.
The most alarming part is that Cunningham isn't being fined for lies or out-of-line remarks. She's being penalized for normal, reasonable observations, things any fan or analyst could say. She was fined $500 for a TikTok where she lip-synced lyrics while mentioning referees. Then, she was hit with a $1,500 fine after her very first podcast episode for pointing out officiating inconsistencies. Most recently, she was fined again, this time for simply noting that Dallas Wings rookie Paige Bueckers seemed to be getting favorable calls from referees. These are basic points, but the WNBA has turned them into punishable offenses.
When you get fined, do they put like verbatim, like quote here, like this is why you're being fined and this is why it's this much? Or is it like, hey, quit talking shit on us, Venmo us like $1,500?
What happens is they email our GM, and she pulls me aside and she goes, "Come here, Soph, I have to talk to you." And this was in like front of everybody. And I was like, "What did I do now?" And she just smiled and she goes, "Hey, they're going to fine you again." They're like, I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would not be good at it. I did say that. Like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing?
And that's the heart of the issue. This isn't about protecting reputations or enforcing professionalism. This is about control. The WNBA has created an environment where players fear speaking honestly about their own league, because financial punishment is waiting for them at every turn. Instead of addressing real concerns, like officiating consistency, expansion decisions, and league operations, the league has chosen to silence one of its own players. Even respected voices like Rebecca Lobo have admitted there are legitimate officiating problems, yet when a current player says the same thing, she gets fined. Sophie Cunningham's treatment shows the WNBA isn't protecting its image, it's building a culture of silence.
About getting fined, basically saying that she thinks it's laughable and that the league probably has bigger issues they should be focusing on. Now, WNBA officiating has faced major scrutiny all season long from some of the league's biggest stars and coaches. You can find a ton of articles about it online where they're all calling for more consistency. One of the more quotable examples came from Angel Reese after the Chicago Sky lost to the Minnesota Lynx on July 6th. Reese said that the officiating has to be fixed. She said, "I don't give a you-know-what if I get fined because that stuff is cheap and I'm tired of this stuff." You get the point. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert addressed the officiating ahead of the All-Star game last weekend. She said that it is something that the league is continuing to work on and that they are on it. Engelbert